Like you heard, we're interviewing Robbie Eagles, and he is here with us now, kicking off the show. Robbie, thank you for joining us today.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back as a returning guest. It's been a while since we last spoke, and I'm an avid listener of Keepin It Strong Style, so I'm very happy and stoked to be here with you.
I appreciate you jumping in late last minute. It was funny because just peeling the curtain back a little bit, the first time we wanted to record together, it took us a while to like line everything up. And when this time came, I was like, Jeremy, can you reach out to Robbie? But I was like, we felt like it might be a long shot because it's hard to like line things up. I hope he's, able to. And then you were so accommodating being able to do it last minute. So that really was awesome of you. And, the stars aligned. So that's great.
Yeah, right now I've got a big title match coming up this Friday, August 1st in Australia for PWA. So I'm just doing the media round. So when you guys hit me up in the DMs, I was just like, yep, another one to add to the list. Champions duties never end.
That's right. Big match coming up with the Tuckman, and we'll get into previewing that as well. And shout out to our IWGP subscribers watching live. We got Miss J Doom in the chat saying Robbie, and Rambo and Slam Pigs saying happy 400th. So yeah, Robbie, it's great to have you back again. And the last time we talked, you were just debuting for TMDK. So you've been with the group a while now. How has the chemistry within the group evolved, and what's the dynamic like behind the scenes with you guys?
Oh man, the dynamic is just pure fun. I think it's hard to get us focused on when we have big important matches because we're too busy just kind of bantering with each other and be like, oh yeah, we should probably warm up. We should probably get changed. We should probably get so we get carried away quite easily. It's very much like a band of brothers is the way that I would look at it. And, I grew up only with a sister in my family. So I didn't have that like brotherly relationship growing up. And now I finally got it in TMDK. So I'm having like a whole bit of childlike fun with, especially people like Shane Haste, who's a bit of a larrikin, as we say here in Australia. So it's just good vibes. To be honest, one of my favorite parts over the last like 12 months is having Hartley Jackson around because such a pivotal part of the start of my career as I started exploring more parts of Australia and eventually did my first tour of Japan. It's a really nice dynamic having him as, we refer to him as Big Papa. Having Jag around is just brought a whole new dynamic to the team. And honestly, I just think everyone just is themselves in TMDK. We don't feel like we have to put on a front. There's no pressure to be a certain way. We just get to enjoy being together and enjoy pro wrestling.
I'll jump into the next question, but what is a larkin?
A larrikin? A larrikin is like, I guess, a bit of a goof, someone that likes to have a laugh, someone that doesn't take things too seriously, basically someone that's often turning everything into a joke. That's Shane Haste to a T.
It sounds like me a little bit. So you've been a mentor figure for Kosei Fujita. What's impressed you the most about his development so far, especially returning from that, mini excursion to Australia?
Just the confidence that he exudes. Like he has this swagger about him that you can't teach, especially, young lions, they're still new, they're still fresh. And he kind of got expedited through that whole system. But the fact that once he put on his brand new costume for that first Super Juniors and he just became himself, he was in his own skin and he was just like, yeah, I'm the man. And he carries that all the time. So whether he knows it's unlikely he's going to win that match, he still walks out like, I'm the man, you have to beat me. It's not about me beating you. So I just love to see that through him. And that's only going to develop and grow as he gets more and more matches and time behind him. And the kid's had, 2 opportunities at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship in the same year. He's won Best of the Super Juniors in his second time only. Holy shit, guys. Like, I've been in 7 of those tournaments and I haven't even touched the finals. So, I mean, that's just the proof in the pudding, right? Like, the kid's good. He's a prodigy, and I can't wait to see what happens in another 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time. The kid's the ace, I think. He's going to take over the junior division.
Yeah, it's crazy just like how young he is. Like you mentioned, just how much he's accomplished, and he's only going to get better. And also, he's learned a lot from you, and you guys have formed a great tag team, Ichiban Sweet Boys, and that kind of plays into what we've seen, the past 3 years with the junior tag team title division. We've seen a historic period where the title was defended by Catch 2-2, War Dog, Jet Setters, and the Ichiban Sweet Boys. Since then, it's hit a little slump in quality and regular defenses. What did that reign mean for you guys, and where do you see the division heading?
Oh, the reign was super important, right? Like once we got to that point of winning Junior Tag League and we got our shot at Wrestle Kingdom, let alone the fact that we made history and had the first ever ladder match in the Tokyo Dome, as far as I'm aware. And that's still something that recurs in pain and injuries for me to this day. It was really important that we set a precedent with title challenges and the matches that we had with them. So, we went up against Rocky and Yo first, then we had Robbie X and Ishimori, and we kind of circled back to Yo and Wato after that. But we wanted to prove that we weren't just kind of like, oh, it's their first time holding the tag titles, it might not be the strongest run. We wanted to prove that we earned our way there. It wasn't a fluke of just grabbing the belts off a ladder and now we're the champions. We deserved to be at the top of the figurative ladder of the junior tag division. And I think looking at those matches, all 3 title matches that we had, we really raised the stakes and raised the bar every time in terms of what we did quality-wise in the ring. And Fujita and I just kind of get on the same wavelength once we start doing tag stuff. So it's been really easy to just get in there and do it. And I've taken bits and pieces from previous tag teams I've been in. Like I've got a long running tag team here in Australia with my original partner, Matt Diamond. And we still, annually have a tag team match down under. I take stuff that I used to do with Will Ospreay as Birds of Prey. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's like little tag sequences that I had from my time in Bullet Club that have proven useful in certain situations. So I'm taking all those experiences and kind of giving them to Fujita and then asking, what would you do in this situation? What's your spin on this? And that adds a whole new element. And not only does it change it up and keep it fresh, but now it might be more effective than it was when it was me and Will Ospreay doing the same sort of sequence. So yeah, it's just been really fun to be a part of that kind of revolution of the tag division. I know it looks a little different now, so I can't tell you what to expect in the future. But as soon as I saw that whole thing with Doki joining House of Torture and them winning the titles in such a shonky fashion, mate, that's got to be fixed. And it might be Ichiban Sweet Boys to do the fixing.
Please.
Yeah, we would, I think everybody would love that. Jumping into some more talk about, TMDK. So Zack Sabre Jr., he's the front man. He recently regained the IWGP title. And, so far he hasn't had the most stellar G1. The matches have been really good, but he struggled to put some points on the board backstage and, post-match. He's been showing signs of frustration. What are your thoughts on his G1 so far? And what does his success mean to TMDK as a whole?
It's a motivator, right? Like seeing him win that title back from Goto and the way that he did it, it just motivates the rest of us because I'm without IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship. Fujita didn't win the junior title from Desperado in that recent contention. Oiwa wants his first belt. Like it just motivates us. We can do it. It's been proven, but it takes hard work and determination to get there. So we're all just persevering. I know Zach's start wasn't great, but he just recently had that match with ELP where he got some points on the board and was super crucial and important for him. And that was a stellar matchup too. So the fact that he did it in such great fashion is incredible. I think the difference in this G1 to last G1 is he was coming in with like a big chip on his shoulder, right? Not saying that he doesn't have one now, but what he has on his shoulder is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So the pressure is different this time around.
Yeah.
And it's not that he's not ready for it. I just think the people that he's faced off with in those opening rounds have been hungrier and wanting to prove more of a point, even, potentially looking at their performances from last year. So that's kind of back off guard. And that might be a little bit of, his self-confidence coming into it, because normally he's very much like Fujita's learned from him. He's the man. He's the front man. He's untouchable with the way that he wrestles. No one can wrestle like him. But I think the more and more the years go on, people are getting smarter to Zack savvy, so they're starting to scout him. I see the win over ELP is going to set him up for the next one. And I know he hasn't had the match with Takeshita yet, right?
No, that's coming up on
That's
Wednesday.
next.
Okay, so it's going to be a tough one for him, but I fully believe that Zack can do it because Takeshita's, he's big, he's strong, he's powerful, and he can be fast, right? But Zack can him. And the good thing about Takeshita is he's got a long body. That makes it a lot easier for Zack to catch something. And, you know, it might be like a Frank Mir, Brock Lesnar moment. I don't know. It could be over before it started.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, with Zack in G1. Jumping back to the junior division, I'll see your standout of the junior division, and there's been a lot of clamor from fans about the junior division, about the longevity of top stars like El Desperado and Hiromu Takahashi, and they need new platforms, new challenges beyond the junior division. What are your thoughts on the junior division and how it can be elevated and promoted to a greater level in 2025?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if I have the answer, but I can give my thoughts on it. I think what Desperado is doing as the champion and headlining some of those Korakuen events that might not have as much of a high stakes matchup on them, normally speaking, I think that's a good thing to do. It puts more prestige on these, Road 2 shows, or, some people would say lesser than. So I think that's a good thing, but it might be time to start shifting that back towards, the bigger events and really demanding, putting their foot down and saying, hey, I'm the champion. We deserve to be on at this point. And when you look at it in the two divisions, IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, that's headlining, right? Mm-hmm. But then the junior heavyweight singles title, that's our version of that belt in our division. So that should be as close to the top as what Zack holds. It's just, it's an argument I've had for a long time where you have one belt that's gold and one belt that's silver. You're kind of putting us in second place. And I've always hated that. So when I was champion, I demanded, let's change that. Let's make this belt gold again. And let's fix the perception. But it could be the belt. It could be the positions on the cards. I don't know exactly what it is. It's been nice to see things like Hiromu going to Noah recently. I know his title challenge didn't happen the way that he was hoping it would happen, and that's going to have to be pushed back a little bit. But maybe we need to strike some new blood in there. Maybe we need some challenges for Desperado from outside of New Japan to get the intrigue back up. Or maybe there's someone we're not thinking of that's been long gone from challenging for that title, and it's time for them to have another shot for the first time in a long time. That might create some buzz and drama as well. Hey, you know what? That belt hasn't been defended in Australia since 2019 when Will Ospreay and I had a match. So if Despy wants to come for his first trip down under, which I know he really wants, I'm here ready and waiting, and I'll roll out the red carpet for him.
I love that idea of revising the title design to a gold, especially since right now the current version is, almost a miniature version of the V4, which no longer exists. So it almost feels fitting that we're probably overdue for a design change for the title anyway. So yeah, I love that idea. Jumping into the next topic. So, many top stars have departed New Japan the last few years. This tour, they struggled a little bit with attendance. What are the vibes backstage with the current state of things? And with so many young guys looking to break out right now, what do you think needs to happen for fans to get reinvested and the brand to kind of be elevated?
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one, right? Because there's only so many things that are within our control as the talent.
Right.
I think backstage, generally speaking, and again, we're separated and segregated into locker rooms, so I only really hang out with the TMDK boys, and I see someone else in passing for a hot second, but it's not long. We're all trying to do our bit and then some, but it's kind of hard because you can't apply the same tactics that, say, people in AEW or WWE would use to try to grow the fan base, because the Western wrestling is totally different to the Japanese fan base. So we could try to target yourselves in America, but that's not what puts butts in the seats in Japan. So we've really got to figure that part out. And it's if I go on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and I go through reels and look at stuff, I could go down that route, but I don't know if that personally works in the Japanese culture? Do they view that stuff in the same light? They probably don't. It's slightly different. So I can't just apply those same tactics that I would do if I was living in America or here in Australia, because it's not the same. So we're all trying to figure it out. There's been, slight dips and down periods in this company before, and it's persevered and gotten to a brighter point. So I think it's just playing the waiting game a little bit. Hell, I was a part of that whole pandemic era, and it seemed like that was never going to end and things were never going to get better. But then I was a part of the first full cheering Ryogoku card in a title match, and you go, all the pain and sacrifice was worth it. We just had to keep doing it. So
yeah,
the thing is that the talent, we're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep putting on bangers. We're going to keep being in the best shape we can be. Whether the fans come or not, look, that's on them. We can't control what they do. And we could be putting on the most interesting thing ever. It's time and place, right? And it's money.
Yeah.
So when people have the time and when people have the money and they want to invest in us, they will. So we'll wait for them, but we'll still be here. So we're going to constantly provide the pro wrestling entertainment that only New Japan can in that sports style. And I'm just forever grateful and lucky to be a part of that. And even on my breaks back home, I'm still watching and studying and making sure that I'm going to keep up with everything that's happening over there.
Yeah, and speaking of back home, we know New Japan was, trying to expand in, the Oceania region with NJPW Tamashii and the Fale Dojo. Well, now the Fale Dojo is closed, and there's been 11 Tamashii events in a year. 5 of them were taped. None of them are on New Japan World yet. Other than young blood, no domestic talent has gone over in over a year. What can you tell us about the state of NJPW Tamashii and New Japan in Oceania?
Yeah, I believe the focus now is shifted from doing some events in Australia at the moment, and it's mostly just focusing on that New Zealand brand and that New Zealand community. And it is very much a community-based professional wrestling group at the moment. So I'm looking from the outside in, right? Like I'm not as part of it as I once was. Having Yuto and Oscar back there, I think has reinvigorated them because they're getting a little bit of that worldly experience those two have had from the Noge Dojo plus their time in Europe most recently. So that's giving something to the local New Zealand wrestlers that they wouldn't often be exposed to. And the New Zealand scene is very interesting. It's very eclectic. It's not exactly like the Australian scene. When I've been a part of it, it's always like, oh, wow, I didn't expect this, or things have caught me off guard. But it is a much smaller country. So in terms of things like venue attendance and stuff like that, it is going to be on a smaller degree to what we would have access to here in Australia. But I know that they're focusing on something else. And like we've kind of spoken about with, what's happening in Japan, it's all about people trying something different and new to see if it works. And these things aren't going to be complete failures. They might not be the biggest wins either. But if we don't try new things in pro wrestling, then we end up just being, what we all watched growing up as kids. And as much as we want to be nostalgic about that, you can only do that for so long before you go, I want something different. I want something new.
Right.
I want to be that kid again that's seeing it for the first time. Whereas you don't want to be watching reruns because you know what to expect. You predict it, right? So I don't know exactly what the future of Tamashii will be 6 months, 12 months time, 18 months time. But I am excited for the possibility of it turning into something else.
Nice. Now, speaking of Australia, Robbie, you've always flown the flag for Australia and the Philippines. What does it mean to you to represent both cultures in pro wrestling today?
Well, I think Zack is representing the Philippines more than I am lately because he's been very open about his trips over there, and they've fully adopted him as a Filipino somehow. So I think they forgot about me and my actual heritage. They've pushed me out. Look, I'm glad that you brought that up because it's very easy for people to talk about my Australian heritage because I live here and I am part of the wrestling scene predominantly in Australia. But I hold both places so close to my heart because what I see in the Filipino scene when I have been a part of it was 2 years ago last time I was there, and then in 2020, right before the pandemic, my first time. It reminds me of my start in Australian wrestling when we were still kind of relegated to community halls and those smaller buildings and smaller crowds. but the fandom was so strong and wanted more of it, right? Like the Philippines especially, they're just like chomping at the bit for Japanese wrestling specifically. They love it. And they could fill a room with like, 100, 150 people, but the noise they radiate makes you feel like you're in the Tokyo Dome with 40,000. So it's like a crazy vibe and atmosphere. In terms of Australian wrestling, as much as the fans locally could turn on me, which they have at the moment here in Sydney, which is, it is what it is. I don't let it get to me because I still will always love Australian wrestling, because if Australian wrestling didn't exist, I wouldn't exist and I wouldn't have my dream job in New Japan. So I will continue to shout from the heavens wherever I go, whether it's on my North American tour that I did last year, whether it's any trips abroad for New Japan or representing New Japan. That's why I wear the flags on my shorts, because I want people to constantly be asking that question and then doing their own research. People like yourselves, you like to look into the backstory and go, oh, I didn't know this about Robbie. What's that about? And then through Googling or whatever, you find something and you can find nuggets. And I know you guys, it might have been Young Boy actually that spoke about my solo PWA Championship win last year as a potential excursion match of the year.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm having those every damn month I'm here in Australia. So get your eyes on PWA Black Label and you'll see the shit that I'm putting down.
Yeah, I love that. It's the fans that turned. It's not you.
Hey, I was just beating up some chump of a champion, and then they started calling me a wanker, and that was the first time I've ever heard that in that ring. So, whatever floats their boat, as long as they're paying tickets and coming to the shows, do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, and obviously, that Australia platform is what has elevated you in the wrestling game, got you to New Japan. Like you just mentioned, you did a North American tour last year. So on that tour, what were some of your favorite matches from that tour and favorite promotions to work while you were here in the States?
Ooh, that is a great question. It's been a while since I've properly thought about my time. And it was very open-ended. I was only supposed to be there like 2 or 3 months, and it ended up being close to 4 months at the end of it. So like it went longer than I first anticipated. Again, I was staying with Shane Haste for a month. So it kind of just got a bit too fun for a little bit there. So I had to like refocus on stuff. Look, experiencing AEW was fun, and doing it with Shane and Zack, like that was a cool experience. Wrestling Ishii for the first time ever, because I'd only teamed with him before, and Orange Cassidy, someone that I've trained with back in 2011. So the fact that we finally got to mix it up. And Orange Cassidy, funnily enough, is a PWA Coliseum entrant back in 2019. So we have like more connective tissue there than people realize.
Nice.
I think one of my favorite matches, there's two that I can kind of rattle off the top of my head, and I'm probably forgetting some though, is I had a match with Jackson Drake at DPW that wasn't originally scheduled. Jackson came in and filled in last minute and, caught me off guard, but I thought we had a killer match. And now looking at what he's been able to achieve in the last year and with the WWE ID program, and he's the Evolve champion now. So like that's cool as hell to look back at. But the one that's equal to that is my last match in the US was against Speedball for ETU. And I've known Ryan at ETU for a long time. So to work for his promotion was like, really great. And to tick that off as like my last one for the tour was awesome. And Speedball and I were on heaps of the same shows during my time in the States. So sharing a locker room with him again from his time at Best of the Super Juniors and other events we've been a part of, it was fun to have that camaraderie. But it was like, damn, when are we finally going to wrestle? Like it seems like this is a matchup that's so easy on paper to put together, but it just never happened. And then it was my send-off to go. I went to England for like 48 hours and then came home. I don't think it could have been any better placed like a story. And we had a killer matchup. He got the victory in that one, so I still owe him one. So, hey, you guys talked about it before, Forbidden Door. Ichiban Sweet Boys versus, what is it, Speed Jet or Jetfire? or
Jet Speed.
Jet Speed. I was close.
Yeah, that would be a super fun matchup. I think, you and Fujita against a lot of teams in AEW would be a lot of fun. I'll say the Young Bucks would probably be another great matchup there that would be a great potential for Forbidden Door.
Listen, you
Yeah.
had oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go.
I was just going to say you had a super successful US run, but ultimately it was a failure because you didn't get to come train with me and Jay Lethal and Matt Seidel and see me do shitty quarter rolls. So I don't know, you know.
We tried to make it happen. We just couldn't make it fit, and it was time and distance. So next time for sure, though.
Actually, there's like no schools here right now. Everybody closed up, so it probably won't happen.
Shit, man, Florida be like that, huh?
Yeah, dude, the Tampa scene is really dry right now.
Yeah, it's dry. Like I would love to go like roll somewhere, but there's no rings. They all closed up. So, but continuing on with what you've talked about. I mean, you're on this media tour. You've been the sole champion, 465 days, 10 defenses, and you have a big rematch coming up with Tuckman, who you took the title from. Any comments for Tuckman heading into that match?
Oh, we might have to like keep this stream going for another hour if you want. He was doing a day in the life on the PWA Instagram yesterday, and he went live and did a Q&A and started dropping my name. And I'm kind of like the boogeyman right now. You say my name and I'll appear. I just don't smash a clock over my head or eat worms or anything like that. But my biggest thing is like, he had every opportunity to be one of those guys that I took under my wing. Like he could have been the Velocities, right? Like I would have helped him get his foot into Japan and have a tour. Hell, he might have even been a part of TMDK if he played his cards right. I don't know. But this kid, he was like, if Fujita is confident, Tucky went over that confidence level when he won that belt, and for whatever reason felt like he needed to talk smack, and he got under my skin in that first match. So like that was his undoing. So this whole time that I've been the champion, I've been trying to teach him a lesson of how a champion acts. And they want to say that like him and people like-minded are saying that I'm talking down to the younger generation, and I'm not. All I'm saying is it's about quality over quantity. They're complaining I'm defending the belt as much in PWA on home turf because I went and spent 4 months in the US and I'm taking the belt to tours of New Japan. But I only want challenges that are worthy. I only want challenges that have proven themselves, because you guys know, you watch the product. That's how it happens in New Japan, and that's how you get the best title matches possible. But these kids in Australia, they still don't know how it works overseas. So I'm trying to teach them firsthand. You have to earn your way here. I find it funny that Tuck wants to talk all this trash now about how I'm viewing him and I've lost touch with the fans and with wrestling and being a young wrestler in Australia, but he still hasn't proven anything. He won a Rumble. He proved he could throw people over the top rope and not get thrown over the top rope. That's going to have no difference in this title match. He has to pin me, he has to submit me, or he has to knock me out. And I've already proven that I can knock him out, and that's the hardest one to do in pro wrestling. So, I mean, I went the hard route. He's gotten the easy way back into title contention. It's on paper, guys, like the odds are not in his favor. So I've spoken about it a few times. He was embarrassed and humiliated in that first title defense, but ultimately was a loss for him. And this one's going to be much, much worse. I think he has more family and friends coming from the countryside of Australia in Dubbo, which is out in the bush, as we say. It's far away from here in Sydney. So they're going to make a long trip to see their friend, their family member. I know his dad's coming, so his son going to lose an absolutely what will become the excursion match of the year for you guys in 2025. But tell me this. Have you ever had an excursion match of the year that's a complete whitewash? Because that's what this is going to be on August 1st. A one-sided 5-minute main event match.
Oh, man.
Oh, I'm just giving the preview, boys. That's all it is. No comments, just a straight-up preview. Not a prediction. It's exactly as it's going to happen.
It's a spoiler.
I don't always agree with, everything that's going on with the PWA stuff recently from you, Robbie, but I do have to agree, if anybody is critical about you taking this time away, the one thing that you have done is represent that belt on a, bigger stage internationally to shed light on it, even when you aren't actively defending. The fact that you are giving exposure and spreading the name and representing PWA, that's pretty impressive. And I mean, and this isn't like, I'm not saying that because you're here on the show. It's just it's a fact where that benefits the brand, it benefits the company, and it benefits all the young guys that are complaining about it.
Yeah, I'm giving them the spotlight, right? I'm giving them the platform, but they don't see it that way. They see it as, oh, Robbie's being rough and tough, and he's not giving us our fair shot, and whatever else. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm walking out to the Tokyo Dome with the soul of PWA. That's over 20,000 people in person that saw that belt and go, what is that? And then when they hear it on whether it's Japanese or English commentary, or whether they read it in the brochure that comes from Wrestle Kingdom, this is all getting more eyes on the company. And whether that, relates into followers on Instagram or new Twitter or X followers or whatever it is, that's not necessarily how you understand the fact that I am exposing the brand to more people. It could be 2 more people buying tickets to a show. It could be 3 more people finding out who the Tuckman is. Going and seeing the match that we had from last year on YouTube, because I've shared it on my social media, now gets people going, oh, I actually like some of what that kid did. I'm going to start following his career because I want to see him, almost like in the same way we watch Young Lions, right? You want to see them from their start. But apparently I'm bad guy Bob. Everything I do is horrible. No one likes me. And it gets really tough because we were talking about before sharing the locker room with TMDK. That's such a nice time. I have no TMDK around me in PWA, guys. I am in a locker room by myself. No one wants to come chat to me. I get the Goldberg treatment when it's time to go. And I go and do my business.
Oh, man. Yeah, they should really, be thanking you for elevating the brand. You're elevating the title. And yeah, honestly, I had never heard of the Tuckman until the match you had with him last year where you beat him for the title. And we did put it as a nominee in our excursion match of the year. And yeah, it was a really great match. And if people have not seen it, they need to go and watch that first match on YouTube.
It didn't do super well in the voting, but it's not because the match isn't incredible. I just don't think enough people have laid eyes on it. And I still to this day think that it was like, there's always one match when we have those excursion matches where I'm like, you guys didn't see it, but you need to go fucking watch it because it's incredible. And oftentimes it is from Australia. That's one of them. Like that match just fucking rules. I can't wait to see, the rematch from you guys.
You're going to have to split your time because I know the G1's happening at pretty much the exact same time that we go live. So, I know you guys are a New Japan podcast. G1 comes first. That is priority. But then when you've rested, you've got time, there's a G1 night off. You can catch up on the replay on YouTube because it will be live over there. And then, like I said before, you can see the whitewash and put it straight to number 1 in the voting ballot nice and early for your awards this year.
Oh, man. So, yeah, looking forward to that big rematch coming up this Friday. So it's going to be on the PWA YouTube channel, right?
Correct, yes.
Nice. So, yeah, everybody listening, go ahead and check out that big rematch coming up. And, Robbie, next question here. So 5 years from now, what do you hope fans are saying about Robbie Eagles and your legacy in wrestling?
Well, the first thing they're going to be saying is he's still PWA, sole PWA champion. So, I mean, we're at 460-something days now. I can only imagine what the math will be on that. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I think what I want my legacy to be, and it kind of is already, is I think it's not necessarily about my personal achievements as much as, it would be nice. It's more about what I've done to help not only Australian wrestling, maybe the Philippine wrestling scene as well, but what I've done to help other wrestlers. Kind of like what we've mentioned with my mentorship of Kosei Fujita. Like, I want to get him to a point where, it's either him or I winning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Singles Championship. And if I can help him get there, if he's going to have a quicker route to be in title contention, then I'm definitely going to push for that. If he can help me prepare, because, I need to know what the young kids are doing and be prepared for that in case someone new and fresh wins that championship from Desperado, then I want him to do that in turn. But look at the success of some of the people that I've had a hand in. The inspiration are back in TNA doing great things. They were they'll say that I trained them, but they were training partners of mine. So I'm always happy for their success. Grayson Waller, killing it as always in the WWE. The kid's had the gift of the gab. And I say kid, he's the same age as me. I just, he's had half the career time I have, and he's, overshot me, arguably. And I think, you got Steph DeLander as well, who's just doing amazing things. I know she's in Impact too. Feels like most of the Australian girls are working for TNA. So, like, good on them, that's an amazing little division that they're building. But Kyle Fletcher, let's talk about Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, the proto
Kid
star.
was 14, scrawny as hell. Didn't think he was going to make it through this tough pro wrestling world when he signed up to train with us. And holy hell, Kyle Fletcher that ate that Kyle Fletcher, because kid is big and strong now. And, he's fighting Goldust for a title. So, like, this is not things that Robbie Eagles at 14 years old would have thought were possible, that his student would fight Goldust in 2025. So no, I'm super proud of him. During my time in the US, I got to room with him at his place with him and Sky Blue, and they were super welcoming. And I'm very grateful that I've still got that connection with people like Kyle. But he's just like Fujita, he's a prodigy. He's the proto star for a reason. And I'm super excited to see what he does. So when you talk about, 5 years time, what I want people to be talking about, my mind just instantly goes to, fuck that. I want to know what these people are doing in 5 years time, because I'm more proud of them than I'm ever going to be of my own achievements.
Yeah, I think you're like well on the way to that being the case. I mean, when you think about like Australian wrestling, it's going to be like Fuller and Eagles. With the Eagles name being what it is, Jeremy, let me ask you this, because this is a little bit off the sheet, but when we were in New Orleans, who was the talent scout that we sat next to at that Shine show? Was that Canyon Seaman? Is that his name?
Yeah, Canyon Seaman, yeah.
So we're at a Shine show, right? 2017 in New Orleans, and we're sitting next to Canyon Seaman, the entire Social Suplex group, and we don't want to give away that we're like super marks or whatever, so we just we're real respectful, but we know who the fuck it is. We're right next to the dude, and we're watching him take down his notes and everything, and we were all really big Madison Eagles fans, and we hadn't said shit to this man, and Madison walks out, and our buddy Rich looks over, he goes, "Canyon, that's the one. That's the one you need to sign." Canyon looks over to us and goes, "Can't sign them all, fellas."
Well, he missed the boat with that one, huh?
Yeah,
he
sure
absolutely did. But she probably doesn't know about it. I know you guys have the connection, so I just thought I'd let you know the Eagles name is well represented here in the U.S.
Well, I'll make sure to tell her on Friday when I see her next. That'll be a nice little story for her to hear.
Yeah, we, Sean used to be a big thing here in the Tampa area, several shows, and Ebor, Madison would always be a part of those shows. We would call her the gun show. Yeah, she would come out there.
Gun show.
Just jacked.
Flexing, right? Yeah.
And throwing girls around.
Hey, I told a story the other day backstage about how Madison Eagles cured my asthma. And the way she cured my asthma as I was maybe in my second year of wrestling and training is there was a very low attendance for a class that she was taking. It was myself and 3 others, only one of which that's still involved in the industry now. 2 have now retired and just kind of quit. And she was, just not having a great day. So she wanted to take it out on us. And we were maybe being a bit sloppy, a bit average. It was a Saturday morning. I was probably hungover because I was 20 years old. Not a great combination for all of this to happen. And we had we still have it now. It's a very old crash mat. So it's quite dense. And she made us do this circuit that had different squats and push-ups and whatever else. It was all cardiovascular stuff. But one of the circuits you had to do was tuck jumps on this crash mat. So it felt like quicksand because you would jump up and as you would land, you'd sink back into it and you had to pull yourself out to do the next one. And this was for time, right? 30 to 45 seconds. I basically had a full-on asthma attack from trying to do this circuit on the crash mat. And I was just I couldn't breathe. And yeah, I haven't had any asthma problems ever since. So although I felt like I was going to pass out and die, thank you, medicine, for curing my asthma forever.
That's awesome. Well, Rob, in these last few minutes, we did get some questions from listeners. So we'll run through those real quick and get you out of here on your way and your training regimen to beat the Tuckman. So first here, Def Triangle 720 on Reddit says, a question for Robbie. What are your current thoughts on tag team wrestling in Japan?
I think it's at a really high level. It doesn't matter what division. I think there's like we have like an agenda in the tag division. We want to set a new precedent for what these matches hold. And I think you're seeing that. I think this year especially. And we mentioned before, look at any of those combinations of War Dogs, Catch 22, Intergalactic Jet Setters, and Ichiban Sweet Boys. We put on some great matches between the four of us. So definitely something for the future to study and look back at how we did it. There's great tag team wrestling all over that country. I often still watch things like Dragon Gate and even in Glate, because I think some of the people they have in those promotions, the combinations they come up with are ridiculous and things that you can't fathom possible. And we spoke about them before. Jet Speed, right? I'm getting that correct?
Yep.
When you think about it, both of them really honed themselves in Japan, right? So separately, now they're coming together, and I can only imagine what that tag team is going to go and do in AEW. So Japanese wrestling definitely builds the best ethics and understanding for tag team wrestling, I feel, in the world.
Nice. Same listener. Next question. After G1 season is over, are you going to challenge Despy for the junior title?
So I've already done the cold challenge. Here I am. I'm just challenging you. I haven't really proven anything. I've done that a couple times now. And the fact that it gets accepted, look, I'm very gracious for the champions when they do accept that challenge. I don't think at this stage, at 35 years old, that I am able to do that for a third time. So I'd like to go in and prove myself. So if the matchmakers make it where Despy's on the opposite side of me and I get the win, that's going to cement my challenge at that point. But in the meantime, I'm focusing right now on the soul of PWA. I had 2 belts earlier in the year. I only have 1. I want to keep that 1. I'm not concerned with adding a second right now. And that also puts your luggage overweight. So I'm okay with just having 1 for the interim. But let's look at it more like we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Nice. Next question here from Doc in our Discord says, as the last remaining Filipino in New Japan, how does it feel to know you have support of all the Filipino diaspora? Also, opinion on chocolate meat.
Doc is Filipino, by the way.
I figured. Chocolate meat, I'm not familiar, so I'll have to get caught up on that. But they say I'm the last Filipino, but we've got 2. It's me and Zack Sabre Jr. So I'm amongst my kuya in TMDK.
Awesome.
Fecal_soup asks, we as fans know to some degree how life as a pro wrestler can be difficult with all the traveling to and from shows while not being 100% physically. How difficult does it get on top of that during tournament season for like Super Juniors, G1? Is there something minor that you didn't think would be an issue but actually did turn out to be annoying or difficult? And he gave the example of like Alex Zane last year forgetting his gear and had to partly wear other people's gear.
I mean, that's a big issue with traveling overseas for sure. That's the panic you have of when you first arrive and you go, oh crap, did I have everything? I haven't had that problem for a long time. I'm very lucky. Let me tell you a quick story about the match I had at AEW last year with Shane against Ishii and Cassidy. I packed my gear in such a weird way because in actuality, when Shane and I got the message and call to say, hey, you guys need to be in, where was it? It was somewhere upstate New York. Anyway, it was Buffalo. We were in Buffalo, New York, and we had to get there from LA, right? We were out and we had a few too many cervezas. So we were in a bit of a state where we knew that we had to kind of like in a few hours get on a plane and travel to the other side of the country. So I packed my gear in such a way so that when I got to the arena for AEW and I was starting to get changed into our gear, I couldn't find any of my bandanas. And that's a very signature Robbie Eagles thing, right? So not just missing one, I was missing both. And I was panicking, asking ring crew if they had any extra bandanas on them as rags or anything. I started tearing up a t-shirt to try to make it into a bandana. Turns out I packed them into my kick pads for the first time ever. So I did have them, but I didn't find them until the last minute. So safety, haven't been in Alex Zane's shoes per se, but I understand that issue. Talking about the tournaments, I copped a pretty bad rotator cuff injury that I put on my Instagram in my match with Kevin Knight. I went for my springboard drop kick to the leg and he moved out of the way. And I took a really awkward fall. And so that was the second tournament match for me in that series. And I was on a busted wing for the entire time. And I'm actually still going to physio for it now. So I have potentially my last physio appointment next week, which will give me the all clear, but it's still causing me grief and pain. But hey, that's pro wrestling. We say it all the time. We're never 100%, and you just got to keep going. And they say until the wheels fall off. It might be a busted wheel, but it's still here. So as long as it's still there, I'm gonna keep on fighting.
Nice. Next question here from Doc. He says, "Will you fight Robbie X over the rights to the name Robbie?"
Hey, look, I'm not the first person to be Robert. Anyone else can be a Robert. He's not Robert Eagles X. So, like, as long as he doesn't take that from me, I think we're fine. We've had our spat. We've had our time. I would like a singles match with him in Japan. I think that would be a cool little bit of payback from he kind of cheated a victory from me in Rev Pro last year, and that was on his way to becoming Bullet Club Robbie X. So I think he learnt a lot from his run in this Best of the Super Juniors as a late replacement. I'd like to see what he's offering on the table as a singles wrestler now. And that grit that he brings being, part of the War Dogs, it's interesting to see. So I want to feel it firsthand.
Yeah. Well, the last time you were on the show, we got aggregated. So I'm sure this is going to be the controversy that gets aggregated. The controversy with you and Robbie X here. So MJ, who works very closely with the Social Suplex crew, he says, "We love you, big dog. Hope to see you back in Shinneon soon. If you've got him live and you're taking questions, who has he enjoyed working with the most over in Japan?"
Ooh. I think the chemistry Desperado and I have is kind of very easy to see. Our Super Juniors match in the tournament just gone was very different to the matches we've had previously. And he and I kind of have a lot of similarities, especially being, limb specialists, lower limb specialists specifically. Yeah. So it's interesting to see what he brings to the table in a rematch because he's like me, he studies pro wrestling. And because he studies pro wrestling, he learns new tricks and new ways in and out of stuff and even applies new holds and new positions. So whenever I get in there with him, it's always exciting because I'm learning as well as fighting the guy, right? So I really enjoy those times. Although the wins and losses aren't great in my favor against him, I'd like to change that a little bit if possible. But it just proves that like the guys that come out of the No-Gay Dojo are a different breed. They're like the strongest version of pro wrestler possible. So I'm just constantly catch up to people like him and Hiromu a little bit. I would say Takahashi is another person that I really have fun going against just because his energy, even when it's against you in a one-on-one match, it's very much something that you can absorb and you get sucked into that Hiromu Takahashi energy. My favorite thing was when he was it Desperado show where he tagged with Jun Kasai and he busted himself open before the match even started because he was headbanging to Kasai's music so hard to hit the guardrail. That's like my favorite Hiromu moment ever because it's such a Hiromu thing to do.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Before Jeremy jumps into the last question, I just want to say something real quick. As a big horror fan, I've watched both The Surfer and Dangerous Animals. What the fuck is going on in Australia? It seems like it's the summer of horror for Australia.
Hey, yeah, we got some great horror stories over here, and most of them are like based on true events, you know. So like, I don't know specifically those titles you just listed off are, but like Wolf Creek, if you haven't ever watched that, go out of your way to watch Wolf Creek, because that apparently happened not far from where I grew up. So hearing that as like a, you know, teen to adult scared the shit out of me. But I don't know, we just do stuff different over here, because, you know, the phrase is everything that crawls, flies, or swims will kill you. So I think we're already on edge constantly, so we're able to produce good horror movies. And I don't know, did you guys see Talk to Me? That was done by the Filippo brothers.
I love the Filippo brothers. You know, they're doing a deathmatch documentary next, right?
Hey, I actually, when I wrestled in VXS in 2021 against Jimmy Lloyd, I was replacing one of them because they were supposed to do the Ronald McDonald death match with Jimmy Lloyd on that show. So we have like an indirect connection. And I was actually at a show that they did one of their, they did the Ronald McDonald versus the two old people death match. I was at that show when they filmed it. So that's going to be part of the documentary, I think, at some point.
Well, yeah,
Wolf Creek, they're amazing.
I've never seen Wolf Creek, but I've just avoided it because I know it's like torture pornish. But like Joel from Super J Cast says, you know, basically said I need to go watch it, so I'll get around to it. But if you haven't seen, The Surfer is more like a psychological thriller, but it's a mindfuck. If you haven't seen it, it's with Nick Cage. You should definitely see it. And Jeremy, I know you got the last question here.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Robbie. The last question here comes from our friend Rich Latta over at One Nation Radio. He says, question for Robbie: how honored is he to be on the 400th episode of Keeping It Strong Style, and where does this rank for the all-time moments in his career?
Well, 400 episodes. Guys, just wanted to, first of all, congratulate you. It's an amazing achievement. Congratulations on getting to this point. Congratulations for continuing to do what you do. Like I said, I am an avid listener. I like to keep up with all the New Japan reporting that goes on over the internet. And, you know, just want to thank you guys for the continued support, not just for me, not just for TMDK, but for New Japan as a whole. We know there are dark periods. We know there are dark times, but having people like you guys still backing us through thick and thin really means a lot. And getting that exposure out to the West, because you guys are kind of, you know, you're part of the ambassadors. You've got you, the Super J Cast, We Work Stiff. There's so many more that I could rattle off as well. But you guys are really the ones that are kind of singing the praises of New Japan to the greater realm. So first of all, thank you for inviting me on the 400th episode. Congratulations again. In terms of where it ranks, look, let's see if I can find something here that I can show. So I've got this hanging above me. This is pretty important, right? Winning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship at the Tokyo Dome. 400th episode for Keeping It Strong Style, pretty much neck and neck.
Oh, wow. Oh man!
Listen, I know when a worker's working. That's not true.
Hey, your words, not mine, Josh.
Oh man! Robbie, thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead and get any last plugs out here before you leave us here tonight.
I know this is going live, and most of your viewers are on the other side of the world. But anyone that is in Australia, maybe watching, listening at some point, there are very limited tickets. I think it's well under 50 tickets left for August 1st. PWA Black Label, The Climb at Factory Theatre in Marrickville. Very cool part of Sydney to be a part of, very trendy part, and the Factory Theatre is one of my favorite venues. Come watch me absolutely floor the Tuckman in front of his friends and family. It's going to be a great night for me. V11 for the soul of PWA Championship, and we go on until we get to V50. Like I said, I'm going to be holding the belt in 5 years' time, like Jeremy first asked me. You can find me on social media at Robbie Eagles _ pretty much everywhere. On my Instagram, you have links to everything. I've got discount codes to some of my brand sponsors and also my merch store. And hey, just keep watching NJPW. Subscribe to njpwworld.com and keep up with the G1 and get ready for what's next for TMDK. Zack Sabre Jr., our front man, is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and we're going to ride that momentum into more gold in our brand.
Awesome. Well, Robbie, thanks again for joining us for the 400th episode. We'll let you get on your way, get on that training schedule to make sure, you whitewash the Tuckman.
Yeah, I'm going to go squat myself silly. Get ready for it.
All right, Robbie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.